from Neveradullmoment. On the inside is Big Island. Cozo next with Listen Till I Tell You and Colour Star and Clonbury Bridge, and ahead of the Posse next to the inside course specialist One Cool Poet, Starman and the King of PRs as they make the downhill run of the second flight. Snappiest next on the inside of Buckhill, then Darkened. Last year's winner, the reopposing Listen Till I Tell You. Boom, boom, boom towards the back with Aussie Warrior, and bringing up the rear is Sergeant Lightfoot. Coming towards the second flight on the approach to the straight, and Larky Gift goes on by 2 lengths to Wrecking Ball Paul, shaking off the early attentions of Whatsafellatodo. Now behind them by 4 to 5 lengths in third as they turn in for the third flight. Boom, 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 went the second. Rider Philip Burns up from his tumble. Flight number 3, the last one next time, and Wrecking Ball Paul jumps on in front of Larky Gift as the pair continue 6 in front of Whatsafellatodo, then Cozo, Neveradullmoment. On the rail is Big Island. They're being followed by Listen Till I Tell You, Clonbury Bridge, and ahead of the Posse and Colour Star next. They're followed by Starman and the King of PRs, and One Cool Poet and Buckhill and Darkened next, then Aussie Warrior. Snappiest in the gap to Sergeant Lightfoot. Flight number 4 just outside the halfway stage as the lead has interchanged between, at the halfway stage, Larky Gift and Wrecking Ball Paul, upholding a good 6 to 7 length advantage over Whatsafellatodo. Larky Gift isn't an easy ride for Lee McKenna, running off that bend as they go towards this flight inside halfway. Larky Gift, the fractional leader from Wrecking Ball Paul. Closer in third is Whatsafellatodo, and fourth is Neveradullmoment. Cozo next with ahead of the Posse. Quickly going into the flight, 7 furlongs from the finish. Larky Gift leads Wrecking Ball Paul. Closing in third is Whatsafellatodo, tracked by Neveradullmoment. Cozo next with ahead of the Posse. Big Island. Aussie Warriors made rapid ground up to mid-division, then the King of PRs. And they're being followed to the next flight, Clonbury Bridge, with Colour Star and Listen Till I Tell You has lost ground. Darken is behind Listen Till I Tell You. Going to the third last flight, and they're compacting with Larky Gift out over the next. Backed off that, leads Whatsafellatodo, and Cozone's improved on the outside in the black and white. Tracked by Neveradullmoment, who makes ground in between horses. On the outside is Aussie Warrior. 4.5 furlongs to go. They make the descent to the second last. Whatsafellatodo, the leader, followed through by Neveradullmoment. Cozone next with Aussie Warrior on the outside of another improver who is ahead of the Posse with 1/2 mile to go and 2 to jump. Whatsafellatodo poised in second is Neveradullmoment, then Cozone, Aussie Warrior out wide. Ahead of the Posse next with Big Island. The King of PRs has made up some ground, and Darkened pushed into contention ahead of Listen Till I Tell You from last Sergeant Lightfoot, followed by Clonbury Bridge, and then Buckhill, who's well back ahead of Colour Star. Stopping quickly is Larky Gift, 2 out. Whatsafellatodo joined by Neveradullmoment, 3 clear of ahead of the Posse, and then Big Island, the King of PRs. Fading is Aussie Warrior, and then Darkened, who plugs on, but as they hit the straight in the final flight, Neveradullmoment produced by J Gilligan to take Whatsafellatodo in third place ahead of the Posse. These 3 are clear of Big Island, the King of PRs next, and then comes Darkened. It's on the final 150 yards. It's Neveradullmoment from ahead of the Posse, who's keeping on well on the outside, but Neveradullmoment is the second winner for JP McManus and Galway native J Gilligan back in the winners' enclosure. Ahead of the Posse second, Whatsafellatodo third, the King of PRs in fourth.
Yes, what a great moment for J Gilligan, just back from injury. He was going great guns prior to that fall at Downpatrick, which put a halt to his gallop, but the Galway man rides the winner here at the Galway Festival done on a well-backed favourite, and we think that's a £7 claim gone to boot. Quite a moment.
Yeah, big moment for J Gilligan. It's a big objective, obviously, to start reducing your claim, and he's been in such form, as you said, before he got injured, riding lots of winners for Gordon Elliott when some of Gordon Elliott's jockeys were on the sidelines, and he's given Neveradullmoment a really lovely ride, had him in a really nice position the whole way, travelled well throughout. You can pick him out throughout, travelling as well as anything and better than most, and he's just moved up on the outside as they run down the hill here. It looked like they went at a fierce pace, Gary, the Wrecking Ball Paul and Larky Gift. They went on and they had them well stretched out from early, but Neveradullmoment always travelled well. We see him here in the run down the hill, travelling well, just just moving into the front rank now, and his jumping was good as well, and he stayed on well. He was challenged by ahead of the Posse, who stayed on well up the hill, and for a few strides after the last it looked like he might challenge him, but Neveradullmoment was probably just doing as much as he needed to do, and he's gone on again up the hill.
Yes, first time blinkers seemed to have sparked up ahead of the Posse today. Shuddering error there from Aussie Warrior, who had made a bit of headway onto their heels going into the dip at that penultimate flight. That cooked his goose if it wasn't already. Whatsafellatodo has run well, locally trained by Richard Daniels, just couldn't keep it up in the closing stages, and this winner, he's long looked as though he had at least a race or two over